Did your mind go there with Sam? No, you are a sick one. Yeah, baby. Love it.
Thank you so
I'd
much.
love to sit around that dinner table at night. Terrifying. Daughter's just terrifying.
I'll let you pick a hand out here. In the
Oh, really?
audience. Yeah.
Sure. I'll get you guys. I'll get you guys later. But I want to get yes.
How was it going into your loss where there was all this talk and build up to the character before they entered, and there was a lot of gravitas, not a lot of
What was it like being in the role of Jacob in Lost?
Yeah, and a character that had a lot of build up for a couple of years before you actually see the character. Well, I have to say that I'm grateful that I hadn't seen the show, so I didn't have any of that weight and burden to make that build up worth it. And one of my friends, she actually just wrote a horror movie that's really good, and I just forgot the name of it. Anyway, I'll remember the name of it. Anyway, my friend Sasha Pearl Raver was a huge Lost fan, and when I came on as Jacob, the most anticipated character, she was like, "Oh my God, it's Mark Pellegrino," and she couldn't get it. She couldn't follow it because she just kept seeing me in the part. But yeah, I didn't even know what part I was playing, to be honest with you, until I got there. The whole Lost phenomenon is sort of luck in a way, because I had 4 auditions that day. And that was going to be the 5th audition. It was 7 pages of material, and I said to my wife, I can't go in on this audition, and so I just have too much stuff I'm doing. I can't go in. She's like, "You're dumb if you don't go in. It's the biggest show on television right now." Crazy, I was not watching television at the time. But I said, but I don't want to make a bad impression. You know, you go in there, you fuck it up, and then they think of you like that for the rest of your career. She's like, "Go in, it doesn't matter." So I went in. And the part was like Jason and some other guy talking on the beach. And it just so happened that it was really well written. And when stuff is really well written, it's easy to, memorize more or less and be free with it. And I had a great time doing the audition. And then 3 weeks later, they called me. And the first person to inform me that I was doing Jacob was Michael Emerson. Yeah. Oh, dude. Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, usually when actors are blocking, they call blocking in the rehearsal process, you're figuring out where you're going to stand and all the movements you're going to make so the camera can follow you. Usually actors sort of walk through that and figure out what they're going to do. But Michael was like, from moment one, rehearsing it full on. And it was, he made me cry. He made me so emotional. He was so intense, take after take after take. Pre-take after pre, a lot of actors want to save that stuff, They think it's precious. But he just let it go every time, and he was stunning to watch. So he made me feel a real impulse, a real connection to him. And so it was ironic that by chance he came up to me and like, "You're our Jacob." My wife figured it out, but I didn't. I had no idea.
That's a beautiful, and I think I looked up your friend's movie. Was it Totally Killer?
Totally Killer. Yes. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Totally Killer.
I got a few people out there. Yeah, we got some Totally Killer.
Who's a horror fan out here?
Any horror fans?
Okay, yeah. You should watch Totally Killer. It's really good.
Pennywise said nothing for that question. Who's a horror fan?
Yeah. What is there?
Okay, she cheered. It's fair.
Okay.
I think I saw a question though over here. You've been raising your hand. Hi.
You brought a very lovable quality to being the devil and kind of helped us root for the devil, which is crazy. Was that something that you brought to the character, or was that a note from the director?
I'd like to think that it's something I brought, but it's also in the writing. You can't. You could bring more to the part than the writers envisioned, but you're still saying their words and doing more or less what they want you to do in the script. I think they started sort of after the Sam stuff and after getting in Sam's head stuff. I feel like they started writing from my quirky, weird style.
I think they started trusting you.
Yeah, they start letting you go and just riffing and playing, and I think I think every actor should have that sense of play to them, but I think that's what gives Lucifer that little bit of levity and likability. If he was just dark, you know, you'd have to find another way into getting the people on his side.
I think that raises an interesting question is, like, when did you feel like you had kind of stepped into the role? Like no nerves, no nothing, you are this, you are Lucifer.
Yeah, I feel like that's a very good question, actually, because I feel like my process is sort of immersive, and has got, especially when I started out in the season 5 Lucifer, I did all this work, all this homework stuff, and I feel I'm a little less immersive now, but I still feel very engaged when I get there. I'm more about being playful and suggestible, like a kid, so that you know you can be light on your feet when you're in the scene with another person. And I felt that really started to kick in the latter 3 or 4 seasons. I felt very simpatico with Lucifer.
You know, like everyone else does all the time.
Well, yeah, right. That's something only Supernatural fans, I think, can relate to.
That's really awesome.
Yes.
Were any parts of scenes that you kind of just ad-lib or improv or stuff like that?
Any improv or ad-libs?
You know, most of it wasn't improvised. The only thing that I changed, for the most part, was when they had Lucifer say, "Oh my God," I would say, "Oh my dad," and they sort of went with that. And other stuff I can't really think of. It wasn't really an improvisational show. You know what I mean? They're little. You know, you'd find your own way to do something, and it had an improvisational quality, but certainly not. You know, not something it was more classical music instead of jazz, but you know, you could still find the person and the personality within the tone.
Excellent.
The musical tone.
Yeah, and Mark, you took charge. You're pointing at people. I'm
Right, isn't that what you said?
Yeah, it was great. No.
I'm
gonna kick back.
Allie, yeah.
I was wondering, what books have you been reading?
What books have I been reading lately? Oh, yeah. I've been reading a lot about the history of Israel. I had a debate that happened a few weeks ago, which was not fun, but I was sort of boning up my history on that. Very controversial topic today, so I wanted, which I know a lot about anyway, but I read about 3 or 4 books that were quite informative and gave me a new perspective on things that I didn't have before. So I'm sort of into that, and I'm about to start a fiction book by the guy who wrote American Rust, which is a show I did for 2 seasons, Philip Myers. He wrote a book called The Sun. So Jake Weber, this actor I just recently worked with on this TV show, recommended that book, so I bought that because I need some fiction. You read nonfiction history, especially something as brutal as the Middle Eastern history, you want to shoot yourself after a while, and you need something to feed the well a little bit. So I think that might be the book that I might feed the well with. Do you know that book? Oh, well, okay. Yeah.
That's awesome, though. I love history, though.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
I'm a big American history buff.
Military or
colonial time,
yeah.
revolutionary time.
Yeah, I'm going through the French Revolution right now.
I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, I know.
I mean, the Americans that were involved in that were pretty awesome.
Yeah. You go with America's favorite fighting Frenchman, Lafayette.
Yeah, Lafayette.
Yeah.
Who got buried in American soil, by the way.
Right. They brought it over.
Right. They brought American soil over to France to bury Lafayette in American soil, which I thought was profound.
And you all thought you were going to learn something today. We got another question out there. Way back in the corner. Yes, you've had your hand.
No. I wanted Lucifer to have a redemption arc.
Oh.
You know, and I'm not the only one. There was a writer or 2 in the room that wanted Lucifer to have a redemption arc too. And, you know, not having a father in my real life, the way Lucifer didn't have a father in his life, something I identified with on a personal level, by the way, which might add to some of the personal nature of, I take everything personally, so I mean, I'm an actor. I wanted him to be a dad. I wanted him to experience what raising a son does to you as a person, how it grows you and makes you a better man, right? And it forces you to just be bigger than you are. And I wanted Lucifer to have that experience, and he was denied it by the fucking Winchesters and that prick Castiel. And when the show comes back, I'm gonna get revenge.
Yes! Yeah. That's called an applause break for Lucifer.
Let me get Rose.
Yes,
Rose, you
by
have a
all
question.
means.
Oh, really? Okay. Oh, really? Did it just go one season? 2. But it was supposed to go 2 seasons. Yeah, so it was that was its natural life. Yeah, American Rust only really had 1 season in it, but they extended it to 2. And I thought the second season was even better. I liked when they riffed and went in their own direction, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. There's this thing called Fallout on Prime, whatever. Oh, you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to later on, but I was just curious to which countries do you want to visit? Do you want to scratch off your list?
Which countries would you like to visit?
Yeah. Well, I'm visiting Florida.
Which feels like a country sometimes. It's a good.
I love, don't you love that when somebody answers a question like that? Usually you see it in beauty pageants. What country do you want to visit? Nevada has always been interesting to me, especially the capital. So I don't know. Let me see. You know, there's places I'd like to go in the Middle East because they're so rich with history. They're just so violent and ugly in every other way. I would love to go to Egypt and sail the Nile. They say you can't put your finger in the Nile or anything because you'll get emphysema or some disease because it's so polluted. And I'd actually love to go to Iran. There's a lot of ancient sites there. But they have to sort out their jihadist nonsense before any civilians can go there and hope to be safe.
Have you gone to like colonial America kind of stuff? Like, have you visited?
I did a film and I was staying in Fells Point, Maryland, in Baltimore. And so I took that time to visit a lot of the founding fathers' homes in Virginia. But I didn't go to Jamestown or anything that deep, and I've been to St. Augustine, which was interesting. It was pretty cool, yeah, to see something that goes that far back in America. But I didn't, aside from seeing Mount Montpelier and Mount Vernon and Monticello. I didn't see any other old sites. Do you have any recommendations?
I would always go with Gettysburg. I mean,
I'm supposed to go to Gettysburg and do a convention.
What?
Yeah, in September, at the end of September.
Gettysburg Con? What is that
Yes,
called?
it's Gettysburg.
What?
Something like that. No, that Pittsburgh was last time. Yeah, huh?
Do Fort Ticonderoga in New York.
Fort Ticonderoga in New York.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that.
Yeah.
New York sites for reference.
That caused a lot of problems. I'd visit that for sure. The first historical site I ever visited was in Charleston. It was Fort Sumter.
Oh.
So I did a TV show that never got aired because it was too expensive. Steven Spielberg produced it, and it was called The Class of '61, and it was about the West Point class of 1861 and the divide that happened when Lincoln was elected. And between the North and the South cadets at the opening of the Civil War. So it was a very interesting project, and I got to hang around historic Charleston for.
What role did you play?
I don't remember my part. I was a Confederate, but I don't remember my name.
Oh, fair. He got shot in the head?
I did. Oh, you too. I'm sorry. No, I only say that because this guy Greg Hoblit directed it, and this was Janusz Kaminski's first film with Steven Spielberg. Now, Janusz Kaminski won the Academy Award for director of photography for Schindler's List, so this was right before that. And then they developed a relationship where they did all the Lost Worlds together, and he's his go-to cinematographer.
Wow.
And when we were doing a scene, where, you know, as the Civil War is beginning, the cadets are out in the court of West Point, and one guy starts singing the Star Spangled Banner, and I start singing Dixie, and we turn on each other, and we start getting into this fight. And there were two cameramen stationed at angles to get both of us at the same time. And Janusz left his position, it was a handheld camera, and came right up to me and started like getting right there, because all the cadets around us thought it was a real fight, and I was so mad, and it was so honest that he just spontaneously wanted to capture it. And in the middle of it, Greg Hoblit goes, "Cut!" And he comes storming out to the field where we are, and he says, "I want a camera here, and I want a camera here. We do it all the time on Hill Street Blues. I don't want it any different." He didn't even see what was happening in the moment, and that pissed me off. So I have a boner for that guy in all the wrong ways.
Thank you.
Anyway,
Mark,
yeah.
take it away. Whoever you'd like to pick.
Okay, thank you. So I'm one of the biggest Lost fans ever get into as far as I'm obsessive, right? And Jacob was by far one of my favorite characters. 606, the best by far. This is the history of it. And I know that you said in that interview that the only thing that you about the character is like Jesus and Carpenter, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what you point to. But at the same time, I feel like so much was left unsaid as regards to Jacob. You guys could have done an entire season just doing the Men in Black and the creation of that part of the story. My question to you is, looking back, your assessment of who Jacob was and why didn't you get more information? Not to Jack, but even earlier. At the end of the day, you kind of knew where the story was going at the end, right? What do you think Jacob was at his essence, and why didn't you give too much information?
Well, I think because, like God, he has to let you figure it out on your own, and I think that was part of the essence of the struggle of all the characters on Lost, is they come together and help each other through this process to get where they go. And I can't give them the answers, and I think I even say that to one of the characters.
Yeah, and maybe more in the sense of like, you know, you sit them down, like you guys have the fire and you discuss that stuff. But I feel like Jacob was, and I want your opinion on it. My opinion was that Jacob was really struggled with what, because he was the heir and despair sort of situation, and we were supposed to be despair, ended up being the heir of the island, the island besides, right? And then at the end of it, like, yes, everybody goes through their own thing, but at the same time, I feel like Jacob struggled throughout the entirety that he had to protect the island. And you said in one interview, I was on the side of the Men in Black as well.
Yes.
I really just wanted, like, you just...
Yeah, well, yeah, I love choice and autonomy, and I would actually listen to Titus Welliver, who played the Man in Black. I would listen to, are we strobing over there?
I know.
I feel like I'm in a disco club.
Yeah, my eyes.
I would listen to what he was saying, which was just he yearned to be free. He wanted to know what existed out there, outside of the confines of the island, that's one of the greatest things about humanity for me, is that insatiable, unquenchable spirit to keep going and to know that pioneer spirit, which I found in him in Lucifer.
Oh!
That's a slip. All right. And Jacob was more insular and about duty and selflessness, and you have this role to play, and it's not really about what you want at all. And I couldn't be any more opposed to that vision. That's why Jesus the Carpenter made so much sense to me. And Jack Bender, who was one of the producers of the show, was the one who gave me that direction. And it had resonance with me because I'd read probably a couple years before a book called The Master and the Margarita, which is a very interesting book. And I was religious at the time that I read the book. And the first few chapters are about Jesus. the first chapter opens up with this this poet. I think he's artist guy. They're in Russia, and he's sitting there talking to this old man about God doesn't exist and there's no Jesus. It's all bullshit. It's a myth. And the old man says, "I'll tell you what, he does exist. Jesus really was here. You know how I know this? I was there." He's talking to the devil, basically. And so he goes back in time and recounts the story of Pontius Pilate and Jesus. And I remember reading that and really feeling Jesus the carpenter. Because it's hard to describe unless you actually read it. And it's been so many years since I read it. But he was this combination of totally down-to-earth guy who could, when you looked into his eyes, you knew he knew you. It was that intimate, every interaction with him. And then he'd do something offhandedly miraculous. Like when he was talking to Pilate, the Bulgakov talks about Pilate had these terrible headaches. He hated being in Judea. It was the people were savages. It was dirty. They hated the Romans. He was disgusted. He had these chronic headaches. The only things he loved was his dogs. And so Jesus would be in the middle of trying to explain himself. He'd be like, "I gotta tell you, there's this guy following me around. He's writing down everything I say. It's not what I said. None of it's what I said. And your dogs aren't the only one who love you." And he'd do that, and suddenly Pilate would be, blown away. And he'd be talking and talking and talking. He'd say, "Your headaches, don't worry about them anymore." And his headache would be gone. And that idea, that juxtaposition of perfectly human with that other quality,
And how other people see that.
I thought that was the perfect thing to say to me. He didn't know it at the time, but it was the perfect thing to say to me. Yeah,
That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ray.
I'm going to say, go
Can
for
I
it.
do Ray?
Mm-hmm. The most rewarding role.
Besides Hamlet, yeah, I did Hamlet. My wife and I worked on it for 2 years and put it up for 3 months, and that was very, very interesting. It's hard to say because I don't know that I've found my potential yet, so I'm still searching for that. But there's times when I have bursts of a sense of it in lots of different parts, and Lucifer is one of them where I feel there's bursts of real fun and real humanity within crazy circumstances. And also, the Closer I really liked because I played a character there that nobody in a million years would probably cast me as. And so I got a chance to explore a whole different universe of possibility and make a character, an unconventional character, very powerful, which I love, right? Gavin Q. Baker III. So if you see the last season of The Closer, I play Kira Sedgwick's defense attorney. She's on the hook for murder. I get her off. I beat Curtis Armstrong, by the way. He plays the prosecuting attorney.
What?
I kick his ass.
What?
In every scene.
Yo!
Every scene he gets his head handed to him. And he's so frustrated. I know he went home and drank after every scene that we did because I just fucked him up.
But he liked it though, right? He liked getting beat.
Well, you know what? He better like it. Gavin Q. Baker was awesome. He was flamboyantly gay, proud, I loved wearing $7,000 suits. I loved being coiffed and fashionable and not giving a fuck what anybody thinks, which is sort of Lucifer anyway, but it came over to Gavin Q. Baker III, and I just loved his power. I loved he was the only person in the entire series who basically bitch slaps Kira Sedgwick. He puts her in her place, totally puts her in her place, and I love that. And Mary McDonald was in that show.
Really?
Yeah.
I was just wanting to go back on that, how awesome you and your wife's relationship is, to the point where you just basically go, do you want to just put on Hamlet? Just it's an afternoon, let's just go put on Hamlet.
Hey, had it been just me, I would have never done it. I needed her to her ambition, because once she gets her teeth into something, she doesn't let go. She finishes it. I could be the guy that's all gung-ho but then I'm like, I'm bored. I want to go on to the next thing. I don't know if that's ADHD or what the.
That's what my site tells me.
Yeah, but she kept me pushing forward, and we ended up doing a production that was really significant.
That's
But,
amazing.
You know, only 100 people at a time saw it because we were in our little theater.
How long have you been married?
We've been married since 2008.
Oh, give it up, everybody. That's awesome.
We've known each other since 1988, though.
Whoa.
We were friends. Yeah, we were just friends and
Lifetime.
distant acquaintances, and then came together again later in life. Yeah.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mark, we are, I think we can get one more question and then we're going to wrap things up. So you have the choice of the last hand.
Go ahead.
So it broke my heart when Lucifer was gone.
Me too.
Absolutely destroyed me. So Nick
You mean when Nick? Oh, okay.
when Michael killed
Oh, yeah.
but then Nick was left, and I love Nick, but then he went really dark.
Yeah.
Tried to bring Lucifer back,
Uh,
and Jack stopped it. Well, I yelled at the screen the same time Nick did when Jack sent Lucifer back to the empty. So if Lucifer had been able to possess Nick again, what would Lucifer have done?
I don't know. I don't think it was an equal relationship.
No, it wasn't.
No, it was really exploitative. I think Nick was suckered. He got suckered into an abusive relationship with a sociopath, I hate to say. And I was disappointed in Nick, to be honest with you, because when I first played Nick in, I guess, season 5,